Hello and welcome to Awakened Entrepreneur Revolution. In this podcast, you will discover how to co-create success in your business by aligning mind, body, and soul. Tune in each week to hear unconventional ways to build your business by focusing on sales and marketing energetics, mixing the woo and the do to enroll more clients, transform more lives, and create the ripple effect you know you are here to make. The traditional approach hasn't resonated with you because it is not meant for you. You've simply evolved past it. The energy is shifting. Old bro tactics and strategies are not working anymore. And you know there is a more aligned, more authentic, and far more impactful approach for you. Join me, Jana Nixa, the Authentic Sales Coach, and a special guest each week as I discover how they co-created their multi-6 and 7-figure businesses by taking inspired action and cultivating success from the inside out. Let's transcend the traditional together to massively up-level your business and to live your purpose on purpose. Hello and welcome back to Awakened Entrepreneur Revolution. My guest today is a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner. She is certified in holistic nutrition, Reiki, human design, NLP, and a hypnotherapist, as well as the founder of InBalance, a Pilates-based fitness franchise, and the host of the Hopeful and Wholesome podcast. She helps female entrepreneurs and leaders leverage their holistic well-being as the number one asset to optimizing their energy and wellness with functional labs, human design, subconscious reprogramming, and energetics so that they can thrive and create more impact in business and in life. Please welcome Hope Pedraza. I didn't say it right, did I?
Pedraza.
I had it right before. Pedraza. I knew I was missing something. Hi, Hope. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, Jana.
Yes, I'm so excited to have this conversation. So many beautiful things. I love human design. I'm completely obsessed with the subconscious mind and how it really dictates everything.
Yeah.
You know, I focus on it a lot with my clients when it comes to business success, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's everything.
Yeah, it is.
So how did you become all of these different things and InBalance and Pilates? I mean, so, you must have started when you were 5.
Yeah. Well, thanks. So I actually just a week ago, I celebrated 14 years with my brick-and-mortar studio. So I've been doing that for quite a while. And I've been teaching Pilates for 20 years. So I started teaching when I was in college, and that's really what got me into it. And when I opened my brick-and-mortar 14 years ago, I wanted to create this one-stop shop where you could get everything you want in one place. We had the movement, the fitness, the mindfulness, and I wanted to add nutrition. So I started out just basic nutrition coaching, helping women, give them accountability, some support. And that was kind of when I realized, the women were coming to me and they wanted to, drop 5 pounds or 10 pounds or 50 pounds, whatever. And that was pretty consistent across the board. It's like, I want to tone up or drop some weight. It was nothing really beyond that. But when I was working with these women and talking, having conversations, I'm recognizing what's going on in your body requires deeper conversations and talking about calories and macros. And that's really what drove me down the path to becoming a functional practitioner. And with my work as a functional practitioner, we're getting to the root cause, but I was kind of going through my own spiritual journey at the time and recognizing that, yes, we have these physical things that are showing up on the body, but they all have this energetic, emotional root cause. And that's what led me into diving into human design and all the subconscious pieces and the energetics. Because if you really want to get to the quote unquote root cause, like that's what it is at a cellular level, it's what's going on in that emotional, energetic body.
Yes, I love the root cause. Yeah. Like it's just such a wonderful way to really help people fully understand like where this all begins and that all these things we're trying to fix and this little bit of messaging for everybody out there, those are the things people want to fix. It's the downstream stuff.
Yep, exactly.
And those are the things they want to change. but it's really getting to the root of it that's actually going to make that.
Yeah.
And what I find, and maybe you've had this on your business journey, is people want to talk all about the roots and all of those pieces. But like you said, and did everybody hear her when she said they came to me for weight loss?
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
come to me for the downstream.
Yep.
And then we have to work our way back once we're
Yeah.
working together.
That's it.
I just had to highlight that. I would be remiss as a business and sales coach if I didn't say that, because
Yeah.
people miss it all the time.
It's true. It's true. And, it's women aren't coming to me for like, oh, I need to reprogram my inner child wound. Or, I need to whatever. And my this pattern and this, like,
Self-love.
yeah, right. Exactly. I need to stop tying my worth to my productivity. That's a big one, but they're not coming to me for those things. They're coming. It's like, and typically the women I work with now, majority of the time, it's like, will you fix my hormones? And that's great. I'd love to fix your hormones, but your hormones are still another symptom of something deeper that's happening in the body.
Yeah. Ooh, I really want to talk about that. Well, not just because of where I am on my journey, but I'm also wondering, is there just a biochemical component too? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because, well, I'll just tell you a little bit about my journey with like perimenopause. It's, I've done a lot of healing, done a lot of inner work. I've been that's on that journey for about 10 years. And all of a sudden, I am a lot more short fused than I used to be.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm explaining this to my doctor, and, I'm like, I know this is not the norm, because I knew what the norm was. So something has changed.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested in taking this in a completely different direction for a minute around like how much it is nature too.
Yeah, sure.
Like, where is that line? Because it felt very different all of
Totally.
a sudden. And I
Yeah.
don't know that that's like, is that just more exposure of the onion? It's like, there's
Right.
more now, alert.
Right.
Or is it
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
hormone?
No, that's a great question. And I think that's a great point to bring up, because there's always that physiological component, right? I mean, we are cells and hormones and neurotransmitters and enzymes. Like, there are those pieces of us. I think there's multiple layers to that, because I've talked about this in a couple other shows before about the women's transition into that perimenopause to menopause state. And there's some women who kind of breeze through it. It's not a big deal. They feel okay. And then there's someone who don't. And I do think that a lot of that is what you're talking about. There is this biochemical component to that. I think the other piece that I really hone in with my clients is understanding what actually happens when you're going into that stage of life. Because when you're going into that stage of life, so the fact is, when we get to perimenopause and menopause, your adrenals basically are taking over hormone production, right? Your ovaries are going to stop producing a lot of, or your estrogen. Your adrenals are going to take over that, and it's going to produce your progesterone. And we also know, I think most of us know, that your adrenals are also responsible for your stress hormones. So our adrenals do a lot, right? Cortisol, adrenaline, like that's where it comes from your adrenals. I have this theory that I feel like is not a theory, but it's what I say because I don't have the studies in front of me to prove it myself. But I really feel that women going into this perimenopause, menopause state that struggle the most, and I can't say 100% of the time, but the majority of them that struggle the most are going into it with their adrenals not in a great state. If we're relying on our adrenals to take over and like to basically do the work, and your adrenals are already struggling because you've experienced burnout and you've been in this fight or flight forever, like, of course you're going to struggle through perimenopause and menopause, because we're asking our adrenals to now do more work, and they're already so tired. Like, I don't want to do anything else. So I really feel like that's a big piece of it when we going in, is just not having your body set up in a way where it's prepared for these other parts of you to take over jobs, right? And I think that's part of it. And I do think it's worth saying too, that there are actual studies that show when you go into menopause, your brain literally changes. So there are changes in your brain that happens that can affect, your behavior, your mood, your interests and stuff. So your brain literally, there is a shift in your brain. And I think that's why a lot of women have these kind of quote unquote midlife crises in that time, because it's like it's kind of like the ego death, right? If you've ever experienced that, where you have to kind of let go of this part of you to step into this new version of you. That's really, I feel like, what menopause is asking you to do. And I said this on an interview a couple weeks ago. There have been studies in different like indigenous cultures and ancient cultures on menopause and kind of this next step. And I think the interesting thing is if you ask most or a lot of women in the Western world, you ask about menopause and it's like, oh, it's terrible. And I had this problem, this, and it sucks. And it's blah, 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 blah. If you go ask women in Eastern cultures or indigenous cultures, they have almost zero symptoms because for them, it's this rite of passage. So it's this perspective of what this new chapter of life is that affects how they experience it. Which I think for me, when I learned that, I was like, that's mind blowing. Like it's a huge revelation because it's the perspective they have going into it is going to affect their experience with it.
I love all of that. And I love the different layers you pointed out for so many reasons. So I think there's the socialization component of it. And I also know for me personally, I put that to the test because I was like, I'm not subscribing. Like I did not subscribe to the I'm 40. I remember my friends, we have a group text and they're not really, we're on different journeys. Right.
Sure.
And they're like, you're old when you've got ibuprofen upstairs and downstairs. And I'm like, I refuse.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
Or don't forget when you turn 40, everything changed. I'm like,
Yep.
I refuse.
Yep.
This one sort of caught me by surprise because I'm like, meh, and then kind of next thing I know, things are a little bit undeniable. But I think from what you're telling me, I think it's the adrenal piece because it all happened when I was starting to build my business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that really took a toll because it's a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
There's a lot that goes on. And that's why I do what I do now with clients is to help them simplify because, part of my story is I got chewed up and spit out when I got over here. I had all this gorgeous, like sacred selling experience, like doing it from a feminine intuitive. So I was like, and I had the spiritual piece. Like, I'm like, let's go. And then it was like, you got to do this. You got to do that. And then the next thing I know, I go from like, I got this to like, I am not enough. And I need so much help, And so it just really, I think probably threw me. And maybe that's one of the biggest reasons. So I'm glad that you said that because that hit.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Yeah.
The other thing that's really frustrating about it all is we do have this socialization and then traditional medicine just doesn't really help.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. I think that's a huge piece. And I think that I do think that the narrative around menopause is shifting a little because more people are talking about it. But I really feel like that's only been within the last like maybe 4 or 5 years, like very recent. Because it wasn't something you talked about. It's very like, I don't know why. It's just, the same thing with periods. I always talk about that. Like, why is it so taboo? Every woman on the freaking planet has a period. Why is it so taboo to talk about it? Like, it's dumb. So I think it's the same thing with menopause. Like, women, and it maybe, I'm sure there's shame and whatever around it. We don't talk about it enough. So we're not learning from other people's experiences of, what's working for you, that kind of thing. So I think that's a big piece of it. And you're right. I think because conventional medicine is just kind of like, this is what it is. Like menopause is going to suck. Like you just kind of get through it.
That's
right?
it.
Yeah. That's kind of the extent of their guidance on that. And that's true in other areas, right? Not just menopause, because I've worked with so many women. Like the medical gaslighting thing is a real thing. And I've worked with, I would say probably 9 out of 10 women that I work with, 90% of women I work with have experienced medical gaslighting on some level of just being, it's very skewed towards women, right? Women experience it the most. And it's, oh, you're getting older, or it's just anxiety, like take anxiety medicine. Like, I don't want to take anxiety medicine. Like that's not what, which your hormones are changing. It's like, there's a reason that they just get brushed off. And there's just not a lot of digging deeper to really, like we talked about the root cause, we were starting out, like really digging deeper to get to that root cause. Like, that's fine. Okay, take hormones. That's fine. But I really want to know. Yeah, right. Exactly. I really want to know why these things are happening.
Yeah. And really, make sure that I'm doing all I can because I don't, for example, like with what we were talking about with me, I don't want to just take hormones if it's actually my adrenals that need to be addressed because, of how I decided to early on run my business,
Exactly.
And now I'm dealing with the aftermath of that.
Right.
But I think it just really goes to show you when it comes to any of this. I was just doing a presentation for a group and there's 2 calls back to back today. And they're like, just tell me what to do. And it's like, I can tell you exactly what to do here, like what to message or how to set this offer up, but it's who you are,
Yeah.
like Band-Aids don't fix bullet holes. And I don't mean that like in a mean way. I mean that we quite literally are living our inside out reality.
Yeah.
And if we don't look at those pieces or the root cause of why we believe what we believe,
That's
what
it.
good is me helping you with messaging,
Right. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's the same thing with health because I've had that too before. Women are just like, tell me what supplement to take and tell me what.
Right, right.
And it's like, okay, well, you can take supplements till the cows come home. But if you're not addressing your nervous system and these patterns that are perpetuating why your body is in fight or flight, you're just peeing out a bunch of stuff and wasting a lot of money on supplements that aren't really doing anything. Like supplements can help, but like you said, it's still not getting to the root cause. It's to support, function of the body or help balance things out. But you have to do the other piece because, I think the important thing for women to understand, it is physiologically impossible for your body to heal when you're in fight or flight. Physiologically, like the whole point of your fight, flight, or freeze response is to run or hide, right? It's to fight or it's to flee. Like that's the whole point. So it's not concerned with reproduction or immunity or how your hormones are functioning or digestion. Like that's not its priority. You have to get it out of that into that rest and digest state. That's the state we have to be in for your body to restore and repair and heal. So trying to, throw supplements and biohacking and all that stuff at your symptoms is not going to do anything unless you're pulling yourself out of that stress response first.
I never even expected this conversation to go in this direction, but I see such a parallel. Because we live in such a society. It's like, just tell me exactly what to do
Yeah.
and make so that what can I say to get the client?
Tell me the thing.
And
Yeah.
it's like, that's the wrong question. It's
Yeah.
who do you need to become to get the client?
Exactly. That's it.
And it's the
That's it.
same for you.
No, it's the same. It is like, who do I need to become? How do I become the person who doesn't fly off the rails when something happens out of the norm? How do I become the person that isn't stressed out 24/7? Like it's 100% the same thing. Yes.
Well, and it doesn't help that you have all of these health gurus and
Yes.
coaching gurus. They're like, you just need the one simple thing, the magic
Yes.
bullet, and all your
This is it.
troubles are over.
Yep.
And
Yep.
but I do believe, and I'd love to get your take on this though, with the energy and the changing and just sort of the ascension and expansiveness that's going on. I think it's opening up to the deeper conversations.
Yeah.
Or maybe that's like wishful thinking. But like a big part of my message is like all the strategies work. So
Yes.
long as you develop the skill sets and the mindset to execute them.
Yes. Yes. That's it.
And so it's like, do you want to get busy becoming the person that gets the result?
Right. Yeah.
Or do you want the quick fix that we've been programmed to think is the thing when life doesn't work that way?
Yeah. Yeah. Not at all.
Where in life does the easy button actually
Work.
for long term become the right answer?
Well, that's it. And that's the key thing, what you just said, long term. Like, is it sustainable? And I think that's the big thing too, when we're talking about, with anything, business or wellness, it's all the same. It's the same. Like, do I want the quick fix that makes you feel good right now? But then, 2 months, because I've had so many clients who they've worked with either, if maybe they've gone the conventional medical route or whatever, or they've worked with other practitioners, even other functional practitioners, but their symptoms come back because either A, the practitioner did what I was just saying, they've given them this whole supplement protocol, but they haven't addressed any of the other pieces, or it's like they just dove into kind of the quick fix thing with, all the biohacking things and this and that, whatever. And that's not sustainable. Like that's not for sustainable healing. And I think I love the parallels we're making right now between business and wellness. And I love it too, because I try to explain this to my clients too. And it's so funny when we're trying to untangle like patterns in the body and then we recognize those patterns. Oh, these patterns are also showing up in your business. Like it's all the same. It's all the same. Yes. And it's recognizing that if you want sustainable growth in your business, it's like, it's taking that one step at a time, right? It's like one breadcrumb after the other falling. And it's the same thing with your health. And like I tell my clients all the time, your business is the health of your business is only as healthy as your body. Like this body is your vessel to bring this your vision and your mission, your business to the collective, like to share your gifts with the world. And your body, you have one body to do that. And so if you're trying to follow all the quick fixes, your body is not going to, you're not building sustainable well-being for your body, and your business is eventually going to experience the repercussions of that.
Yeah, you'll burn out. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not sustainable. And it's just, we definitely have our work cut out for us. But I really do believe that people are starting to open up to, what the soul already knows, that that's
Yes.
not how this thing works. Like,
Yes.
flowers don't bloom overnight. It's the same with this. Like, we
Yeah.
have to do the inner work. But, one thing that's really come up a lot lately around inner work that, because I like to talk about like timelines, and, I know quantum jumping is like the big thing now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, I do believe, we can heal certain things, but I think that's just the planting of the seed. I'd love to get your take on this. Like,
Yeah.
I think that's just the planting of the seed. Like, you still have to water it, because
Yeah.
it's kind of like, I've had those things, or like, those experiences, but if you don't continue to
Yeah.
choose
Yes.
and continue to choose and notice when you're not, and choose again and
Yes.
see the belief and continue to choose that new way,
Yeah.
the healing, it will naturally default back. Have you
Okay.
found that to be the
Yeah,
case?
100%. And I think, I just did a post about this last week because I was sharing my experience with this pattern coming back up for me of like chasing the productivity and like, that whole thing. And I did this whole series on my podcast about tying your worth to productivity and how that affects your physical body and emotional body, all that. And so I did a post about that because I wanted people to recognize that just because you quote unquote heal something doesn't mean you've healed it forever, because it's layered. Like, we are complex beings, and there's layers to this. So yes, you heal one layer, but eventually there's deeper layers of that comes forward when you become the person who's ready to handle those deeper layers. And I think that's the important thing, like you were talking about becoming the person. And it can be frustrating because you're like, crap, like I thought I healed this. Like, what the heck? Why is it coming
Yeah.
back up? But it's not that you didn't heal it. It's that there's layers to this. And now you've moved on to this new, like, I don't know if level's the right word, but I guess this new level of cognition and intent awareness of yourself, that now you can hone in on these new layers that are showing themselves. So it's a constant journey. And I think if we can stay curious rather than like judgmental about when those things come up,
Yes.
that's really the way. Like, that's the way forward, how we keep moving rather than getting stuck when those things show back up and we're like, what the heck, like I did the work, whatever. It's
Right. I should know better. That was one
exactly.
for me early
Yes,
on. I was
yes.
like, I'm not allowed to be mad.
Yeah.
I'm spiritual. I should know better.
Yeah.
And, like really understanding and doing that spiritual ego thing,
Yes.
It, because it just comes up in different ways.
Yep.
It's like
Exactly.
whack-a-mole
Yeah.
a little bit,
Yeah. It is. Yeah.
So how does human design play a role in this? Because so much of the subconscious work that I hear about is, all the things that happen before age 7, right? Like all
Yeah.
the seeds and the nurture and the parents and the stories and the patterns. But if we're talking human design, like some of these things were predestined.
Yeah. Yeah.
And are we to heal from these? Is that part of it? This is getting to be too many questions in one. Um, but just, or is some of that like meant to be part of just who we are?
Yeah. No, that's a great question. That's really deep. I think I I love this. I love this so much. So I feel like there's multiple answers to that. This is just my, like, you can take this or leave it. This is just my perspective on it. So the way I like tying in human design to my work is, like, I do the functional labs. We see, we have empirical data. Here's what's going on in the body. Now, we don't have to guess. We don't have to wonder. This is what's going on. From there is where I like to tie into human design, because then I want to connect. I want to look at your chart and see, okay, how is your energy designed to flow through the body? How are we connecting what's happening in the physical body with what it says in your chart, like to find out kind of where the blockages or potential, patterns and stagnation are showing up. I feel that, yes, I do feel like there are aspects of our chart that are here for us to just move through, like in this life. It's like, these are the things we're meant to move through. These are lessons we're meant to learn. I think we can't separate generational wounds in that too, and generational, because we know science shows that we carry up to 7 generations of trauma in ourselves and our DNA. And so I think we can't separate that. And I do think that with every generation, we are here to heal previous generations. That's just a belief that I have. And I think that a lot of the lessons and the areas of growth that are in our charts, or for that reason, I think part of it is for our soul's incarnation now, like currently, like this is what your soul's meant to learn. But I also think that there is a lot that is healing past generations and repairing and creating new paradigms for future generations. So I think it's kind of twofold there. I mean, I think we're here to do both.
Yeah, I do too. It's just, I sometimes get, and then I have to talk. I'm like, that's ego. You're just trying to understand, which
Yes.
we don't need all
Right.
of that.
Right.
But it's like, where's the line?
Yes.
And it's like,
Yes.
it's always and. It's always
Yeah,
and.
it's always you. That's it. Yeah, exactly.
And just like trusting. I think, what I've learned through a lot of my healing, and it sounds like you're just doing incredible things like with the body itself, because so much of mine has been the reprogramming
Yeah.
piece, right?
Yep.
But I
Same.
love to see how you're putting these two things together, because,
Yeah.
I don't think that people connect that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's our Western society. Like we're not meant, we're conditioned to compartmentalize everything. I mean, conventional medicine does that. Go to this doctor for this and this doctor for this and this doctor for this. Our bodies like dissected and separated into like 20,000 different things where it's like, no, I am a body and a mind. All of that is connected and all of it affects all of it. Like it's all affecting everything. So I think just Western world, we're conditioned to separate all of those things and to just compartmentalize everything. And it's really affected our connection with our soul self, right? That soul level self, because we're thinking like the mind and the body, this like all these things are separate parts. And it's no, it's all the same. They're all
It's all
connected.
one. And then,
Yeah.
even going a step even further, it's like we're all one, and it's just like really understanding how to navigate all of these different pieces,
That's it.
be who we are, but also be the whole. Like it's
Yeah.
just so much and in
Yes,
gray.
it is. It is.
Oh, well, I love this. And I'd actually like to have you back so we can dive even further into it, because
Yeah.
I'd love to hear just even more about like what you've been able to do specifically for these
Yeah.
women, if you're
Yeah.
open to it. So
For
maybe
sure.
doing
I'd
like
love
a
to.
part two.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Um, but but before you go, I
Yes.
know you brought something for our audience. So
Yes.
please tell them all about it.
Yes. So it is the energy detox. It's a spring cleaning for your mind, body, and soul. And this is basically like a little condensed version of like self-guided version of what I do with my clients, because it's going through the physical body. So it talks about like liver detox and your detox pathways and the physical parts. It goes through the mental detox, talking about like the mind chatter and how to reprogram the mind. And then the energy body. There's hypnosis in there. There's some EFT tapping. There's things to really reprogram. So it
Oof.
really is a really comprehensive little energy. I really love it. So it's a really good way to just like the name says, it's like a spring cleaning for your body, mind, and soul. So it's approaching all of those from putting the whole piece together really
Love
holistically.
that. I'm going to definitely check that out. I'm always curious. That's what I do love about the ego. It's like, what has she got in there that I
Yes.
haven't seen?
I
You
love
know,
it.
and so that's what, I know it gets a bad rap, and it definitely does a lot of things to prohibit us from
Yeah.
becoming who we are meant to become. But it also has some good little things in
Yeah.
there like that,
Yeah,
like
for sure.
the desire to know more.
Yes. Yes.
And so thank you for that.
Yes.
Definitely pick that up. Don't worry. All the links, everything will be in the description. So you can get that from Hope. And then Hope, my favorite question of all that I ask is, what would you tell that former version of you?
Mm.
If you could go back to that period, and it's different for everyone. Some of us it's 5, some of us it's 25. But if you're talking to a different version of you that knows that you need, or that needs to hear from you,
Yeah.
what would you say?
Yeah. Oh man, I would say a lot. I I think the big lesson for me, and I think after doing, I mentioned that series I just did on my podcast about tying your worth to productivity, that for me, that series really came from the heart, because I think that for so long was me. Like even my journey through like my early years, teenage years, up and really through my 20s was I had a lot of disordered eating behavior, and it was all tied to that. Like there's this perfection thing and productivity and output and how much I could do. And I mean, I've experienced full on burnout before and having to repair my body from that. So I think for me, it's telling her that like, you don't have to perform, like you don't have to try to be perfect. You don't have to produce and worry about like your worthiness and your value coming from how much you produce and how much you're putting your output. And it's recognizing that inherent worth and the inherent value of you as a human being and as a child of the universe or child of God, and moving from that place versus the place of pushing and forcing because you have to something to prove.
Oh, yes, I can definitely resonate with that. And it is still a ongoing practice,
For sure. Same. Yeah.
you
Same.
know, because it's a deep program that so
Totally, yes.
many of us
Well,
have.
and it's and the talk speaking of generational, because I talk about this in this series, like this is generationally what women have been conditioned. Like it's society culture has programmed this into us. Our only value is either taking care of people or what we're, producing. So this is a deep, yeah. It's a
It
deep
is.
one.
It
Yeah.
is. And it's the thing you choose,
Yes.
like we can heal it and we can heal it, but we still have, I believe, and I've come to understand that we still have to choose it
Over
until
and
it
over
fully
again. Yep.
chooses us,
Yep. For sure.
you know?
Yep.
Well, Hope, thank you so much for coming and having this
Thanks,
conversation.
Janet.
And I would love to have you back. I really
Yeah.
mean that, and dive even
Sure.
deeper.
Yeah.
I still have questions, you guys.
I
I'm
would love to.
definitely going through some of these things. And I know if I am, that means others are as well and need to hear
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah.
thank you
You're
so much.
welcome. Thanks for having me.
And thank you all for listening. And we will see you next week. Bye for now. Thank you so much for listening. And I have an amazing gift for you. If you're ready to hit those 10K, 20K, 50K months and beyond, I created a next level you meditation so that you can take action and embody your higher self each day to quantum leap your business. Please listen up, review this podcast, screenshot the review and share it on social, and tag me, the Authentic Sales Coach, on either Facebook or IG. And I will send you this special gift as a massive thank you.